Ever feel like your business is a high-wire act, where one key person taking a day off could bring the whole thing crashing down? That feeling, that's operational chaos. But there is a way to get from that chaos to real solid control. Okay, let's dive in and figure out how to build a business that can actually run without you.
So let me ask you this, straight up. Does everything just grind to a halt when one of your key people is sick or, heaven forbid, goes on vacation? If you just found yourself nodding, hey, you are not alone. This is probably one of the biggest, most frustrating bottlenecks holding businesses back, and it's exactly what we're going to solve today.
It's really a tale of two businesses. On one side, you've got the people-dependent model. This is where you live with constant mistakes, you're always dealing with frustrating delays, and your best people are on the fast track to burnout. But on the other side, that's the goal, the process-driven model. This is where you get consistency, you can actually scale up, and you find true freedom. So what's the bridge between these two worlds? It's documentation.
Now, to make that leap from one side to the other, we first have to understand the enemy. And it's a sneaky one. It's called the tribal knowledge trap, and it's how all those unwritten rules and secret little processes are basically holding your business hostage. So what is this tribal knowledge thing anyway? Well, it's all that crucial how-to information that isn't written down anywhere. It's the shortcuts, the workarounds, the special, oh, you just gotta do it this way stuff that exists only inside someone's head. And the problem? When that person is unavailable, or worse, when they leave, all that essential knowledge walks right out the door with them.
So the solution here is a really strategic shift in how we think. This isn't about creating more red tape or bureaucracy, no way. This is about creating a business that has a brain of its own, a business that can truly, honestly run itself.
And here's the mindset shift that's so important. We are not, I repeat, not talking about writing some massive 50-page manual that's just going to collect dust on a shelf. The real goal is to create a living, breathing library of how your work actually gets done. Something useful, easy to find, and always up to date.
So how do we build this living library? Look, it's not as scary or as massive a project as it sounds. We're going to break it all down into a super actionable 5-step plan that's going to give you back complete control over your operations.
All right, here's our roadmap. It's a simple, repeatable 5-step loop. First, we prioritize what's most important. Then, we capture how it's done. Next, we structure that knowledge so anyone can follow it. Then, we validate it to make sure it actually works. And finally, and this is crucial, we maintain it, keeping it fresh and relevant. This simple loop is the engine that's going to run your business. Let's break down that first step.
Step 1, prioritize. And we're going to use the good old 80-20 rule for this. Please do not try to document everything all at once. That is a recipe for disaster. Instead, just focus on the 20% of your processes that are driving 80% of your results. You know what they are. Think client onboarding, how you send invoices, or your process for handling a support ticket. Start right there.
Okay, on to step 2, capture. And the key word here is flexibility. You don't have to force everything into one format. For a really complex process, yeah, a written standard operating procedure, an SOP, is great. But for a simple recurring task, a checklist might be all you need. And for anything you do on a computer, just hit record. A quick video walkthrough is often the fastest and clearest way to get started.
And that brings us right to step 3, structure. Your documentation has to be dead simple to follow. A clean template like this is perfect. You've got the name of the process, the objective, which is just the why, the tools you'll need, and the clear step-by-step actions. No fluff, no jargon, just pure clarity.
Now for step 4, validate. And honestly, this is where the magic really happens. A document is totally useless if it doesn't work in the real world. So here is the ultimate test. Hand your new document to someone who has never done the task before. If they can get it done, start to finish, without asking you a single question, you've won. If they get stuck, it's the document that's broken, not them. Now, once it passes that test, there's one last critical step: maintain. This just means setting a reminder to review it every quarter, or updating it right away if a tool or a step changes. This step is what keeps your living library alive.
So to make sure your documents are always passing that validation test and are easy to maintain, we need to be really clear on the difference between good and bad documentation. It really just comes down to one thing: clarity versus clutter.
This quote right here, it's so important. It points out a huge trap that so many people fall into, creating these super complicated documents that look impressive but are totally impossible to actually use. That doesn't build a system, it just creates the illusion of one.
And what happens? People just ignore it and go back to tapping on a coworker's shoulder, and bam, you're right back in the tribal knowledge trap. So let's make this crystal clear. On the one hand, good docs are clear, they're concise, they use visuals like screenshots, and most importantly, they've been tested by a newcomer. Bad docs? Well, that's the other side. That's your 50-page manuals, information that's totally outdated, and files buried so deep in a folder that nobody can even find them.
All right, let's bring this all home. Because we have to remember, we're not just creating documents for the fun of it. There is a much, much bigger prize we're after here. And that's unlocking true freedom in your business.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. The real power behind this entire process is freedom. It's the freedom from having to put out fires every single day. It's the freedom to delegate tasks with total confidence. And it's the freedom to finally scale your business without you being the bottleneck. So I'm going to leave you with a question to really think about. Take a hard look at your own business right now. Is it truly built to grow, to scale, to thrive? Or is its most valuable knowledge still trapped inside someone's head? The choice to change that? Well, that's up to you.